Hi guys, welcome back to episode 3 of our Permadeath Run. Ran on the Wildlander mod list. And here we are with our mage character today, Nezar. And today we are starting in Dragon's Reach. And we are just going through our items that we do have. We have things to note. We have a Staff of Fury, which is okay at low level bandit content. We also have an Summon Flame Atronach scroll. And then we have some enchanted gear. We also have a few levels in our spell trees, of course, but we currently are missing the enchanted gear in our necklace and in our boots. So we will be looking to get those ASAP. And here we are just visiting Farengar to get some scrolls of knock and a glass embellic.
For those with the talent to guess them.
Yeah, we pretty much do speak to Farengar quite a lot. As you will know, the Farengar has a speech level of around 60. I mean, an enchanting level of around 60, and so our enchanted gear is only of level 60 because we are using Farengar to enchant our gear. So we will be looking for people that are having better enchanting, and I think the enchanter in the dragon, I think it's the Dragonborn DLC. Yes, the Dragonborn DLC. The enchanter over there, I'm aware, is level 100.
If it's work you need.
And here we are in the Bandmaid, just getting some soups and stews. Always make sure you're stocked up on soups and stews in the Wildlander mod list, especially in a Permadeath Run. You don't really want to be engaged in combat without your beef stew or your stamina regen. But in today's episode, we are mostly doing bandit content. And we will also be doing some giant content. We will be soul trapping some giants and then enchanting some more gear from Farengar.
Think you can go blade the heat?
And I'm not too sure about a follower as of yet. I haven't really got one, but it's something we really are considering. I did get a follower before, and he just died within 2 minutes. I'm not too sure how the followers work in this mod list. I normally put them on essential, but as obviously I wouldn't be changing that in a Permadeath Run. I will be using what they're meant to be. But I'm sure they just die pretty easily, right? Unless you get an essential NPC, which is normally the Housecarls and a few other followers. So we're just returning back into the Bandmaid to get the Alchemy mission started. If you didn't know, the Alchemy mission is probably one of the most profitable low to mid game quests in Whiterun. You'll have to fight the Alchemy warriors and Kamatu, and there's about 7 or 8 Alchemy warriors, and each of them having fully enchanted gear, an enchanted ring, and enchanted necklace. So you walk out with a lot of gear. You also fight a lot of bandits. So when you do walk out of that quest, you will be walking out with a lot of gear to sell. But it is kind of a hard mission. It's one of the hardest bandit locations in Skyrim in Whiterun.
I don't dare show my face lest they. I heard one of them. Please, I know I'm asking you to do something difficult, maybe even dangerous.
Well, what I'm more excited to show is the giant content we're going to be doing. I was actually surprised of how well it actually went, the giant content. So we are going to be traveling to do the giant missive now. So we will be getting on our horse. As you can see, I have cut out loading screens, and I will actually be cutting out some things from time to time, like selling things. Sometimes traveling if it's a long distance, and I will be not just speeding up everything that I want to show. Obviously, I will be showing a lot of things. Anything that's useful, I will be showing in 3 times value. But things like just traveling over to somewhere close to Whiterun. It is pretty cool just to have it in sped up motion and just to travel there. So as I noticed, just before we enter this the giant camp, there's a bandits fighting a bear, so we quickly try and trample over a few of them and get off our horse to obviously loot the bandits and kill the bear. And obviously you can see our Alteration is level 32 now, just getting a random level up from having mage armor on self equip. But Firebolt pretty much does the work on bandits now. Maybe 2 or 3 shot on bandits. But the magical regeneration is a problem, kind of, until we get some better robes or some better gear. I have been focusing on resist, and here we actually do get hit by the bear, and I actually did think we was dead. But if we do look at half, it's about 30%. This is probably the closest we've been to dying. I wasn't very happy. I was pretty scared at this point. Just to not even doing the actual quest and just nearly dying to a random bear. But we do end up killing all the bandits, and the bear does escape. I don't think I'm able to hit him with the Firebolt. So we clear up all the bandits, and then we obviously loot them all the bandits, and then we put all their loot on the horse. I will be looting a lot until we really get into the mid game. Really, until we're into the mid game, I probably will be looting most of the things we do see, because it just provides you with the extra gold to carry. Like it means every time you come back to do things, like you have an excess amount. You've achieved a lot of gold, and you get a lot of points in speech. And if you're not a mage and you are doing smithing, you do get a level up every time you return, because you will be leveling up with smithing quite often. It just really provides us with the funds necessary to do some training. It also makes us not rely on alchemy, which I don't really like relying on. And we also will be doing spell research in the future to craft tomes for also some nice funds. I'm not too sure how trade routes work, or like how each thing's more expensive in different holds on Wildlander. I know like in Markarth the silver's cheap, and then in Riften the silver's really expensive. But I'm not too sure how magical items work. Like I don't know where the best place would be to sell spell tomes, which is probably what we want to find out. So here we are at the Giants camp, and we just want to put our horse somewhere safe so the horse doesn't engage in combat with the giants, and I do not want my horse being engaged in combat. So mostly we will be using fire runes and firebolt on these giants. We will be soul trapping them once they are quite low HP. As you can see, double empowered fire rune does about, it's like 12% damage, maybe 10%. And the firebolt spell does pretty well as well. I wasn't too sure why the giant was running away from me and not trying to engage me. Maybe he sensed I was like Master Wizard and he just wanted none of it. But there is 2 giants now, and we have to be very careful fighting 2 giants. With 1 giant we can kind of just be, it's quite easy to do as a wizard. When there's 2 giants you have to be very careful. Luckily the 1 giant was bugged and he was just like running away. But we do use the fire runes and firebolts to take down this giant. We will be also using the soul trap to... We have 2 empty grand soul gems on us. We did buy them at a point in time. I think they're only 1,000 gold if they're empty from the merchant in Whiterun. Traps Hawker in. Traps Hawker, the added merchant from Wildlander, who's the wizard. So I think we did just put the soul trap on this giant, and we did actually capture his soul, so that's 1 grand soul gem filled. And giants, they don't really give you too much rewards. I would say mammoths to give you a lot more rewards than a giant does. Even though the giant does basically you can just loot it off of him, but a mammoth gives you animal fat, like 1,400 gold's worth of animal fat, some meat, and they give you the fur. So it's like 2,000 gold from each giant, from each mammoth I think around, which is this is a very nice reward for killing a mammoth. Here we are just looting the giant's place. I'm not too sure what we get from the chest. We will see now, if there even is a chest. There is a chest, yes. It's an apprentice chest, so we can use the knock spell on it. I love it when I don't see an adept or higher chest, as I can just pretty much open it for free. There's not really that much in that chest, to be honest. I'm not too sure if we can make mammoth and tomato soup, or it's either mammoth tomato soup or stew, and it does add 7,200 seconds of stamina regeneration. I'm not too sure if we can make them or even buy them anymore, but there is another food ingredient that does give you 7,200 seconds of stamina regeneration. I'm not too sure where it is. I'm not too sure, but there definitely is better stamina regeneration than we currently have gotten. We're either getting really unlucky, or if they've changed the spawn rates in them for vendors and they've made them more scarce or sparse. But we are just returning that back to Whiterun now. We're going to be turning the giant missive, talking to Farengar to enchant our pieces. And so we're going to be turning to Whiterun, turning in the giant missive.
Hello, friend. Oh, thank you. Yes.
I have decided to cut out most loading screens. I'm going to be changing the editing the way I do it. I will be cutting some things out, like I have said, sometimes speeding it up, sometimes cutting it out. But I will be trying to explain what has happened in the cuts, or what's happened. But I do have some notes next to me as to see what's happened in this episode. So we did turn in the missive, and I think we got 1,400 gold, which is very significant for a missive.
Come to Dragon's Reach.
So we're going to be enchanting 2 pieces of items here, one our necklace and one our boots, and then each of them will have a frost and fire resist enchantment of 36%. So we will have resistment enchantments of shock, fire and frost of 36%, one on our cloak, one on our boots and one on our necklace. So it's pretty significant. We do name our gloves Glove Full of Vaseline. If you don't understand that, then you should watch or read Of Mice and Men. If you do understand that, then you can kind of share the joke of who that is. You can maybe say who owns that glove if you would like, or just say your favorite thing about Of Mice and Men if you would like. I thought it was kind of funny. I just did it randomly. The gloves are called Glove Full of Vaseline. It's just some random mid-gear loot, so I didn't really focus too much on the name and scheme or trying to meta it too much, because I could have got lighter pieces of clothing, and the lighter your pieces of the lighter your load is, then what you're wearing, the less your spells do actually cost. At late game we will be trying to actually meta that out. So we do actually have fully enchanted gear now. Every piece we are wearing is enchanted with decent enchantments also.
There's a tranquility.
And then we also
wish to master the arcane arts.
We do sell the Amulet of Arcade back to him, which doesn't prove much really. It's only maybe 100 gold. And then we do actually pass the speech check to ask for training, and then we do just decide to get 5 levels in destruction, which costs us probably about 2,000 or 3,000 gold. And as you can see, we only have about 10,000 gold as of now. So now we are going to be continuing on with the Alakia quest. We will be entering the jail and freeing the prisoner to carry on the quest. Most of the time we do go the route of killing the Alakia just for the rewards it does benefit you. And I think in my lifetime of playing Skyrim, I've only actually turned Sadir in maybe once or twice. It's like the rewards are not as good. Like they give you some gems, and
What are you looking?
Basically you take it outside of Whiterun in the stables, and you meet the Alakia, and they just use
and I'll tell you. 100 gold.
They just use a paralyzed spell on her, basically. They give you like a couple of sapphires. The rewards are much better from from killing the Alakia
Convince him to stay out
in
of the city while you're
Wildlander especially.
Buy my way out of
Because in vanilla Skyrim you wouldn't
well.
really
Come on. You real, but that's your problem.
you wouldn't really min-max these places because you just be playing vanilla. There's much easier to get gold in vanilla also. But in the Permadeath Run, I will be min-maxing quite a lot until we are into the mid-game. Mid-game, I did explain this in the last episode, is more like Forsworn, Draugr, Falmer, Dwemer Ruins. That's kind of the mid-game, I would say. Dwemer Ruins being on the high end of the mid-game, probably the hardest content you would want to do. Farmer also on that high end. You have to make sure you are prepared for both of those very heavily, with many potions and many gear to resist the effects that they might do. But Dwemer Ruins are probably Dwemer Ruins and Farmer would be the hardest for us also anyway, because of the magical effects they can do on us.
If it's work you need,
And
how about shopping up
we are
some
going to be
wood for the
taking
fires?
mage content very slowly for now, like fighting against other mages. As well, we really are susceptible to magical effects, such as we are a high elf, and we did take the Apprentice, and I may indeed switch to the mage, like the Major Stone in the future, or I'm not too sure what I may do in the future. But here we are, just chopping some wood. We just wanted to chop some wood, as we will be going outside Whiterun and doing some survive. We will be crafting a fire and putting our tent down. We have mostly been ignoring this this aspect of Wildlander, but I will be trying to focus more attention in the future in future recordings to try and sleep outdoors as much as I can and craft the fire. But I will be explaining what each of them do and how to get experience in each of the skill trees as we do show you in a few moments. So you pretty much can set your tent up anywhere if it's not in any city or any inside anywhere. So here we are, just taking the tent off our horse. You should always have some wood. You should always have some wood and a tent on your horse. You pretty much only need wood. So you have some wood on and a tent on your horse, and you're pretty much set to explore the wilderness, and you will pretty much always be safe. So in anywhere that's not a snowy region, you want to be having a leather tent, and in a winter region, you want to have a fur tent. So the fur tent will help you keep you warm throughout the night, and you'll be wanting to place your fire next to your tent to keep you also warm throughout the night. So there is 3 skill trees this provides in Wildlander, and I'll be explaining each of them as they come. So although we can start the fire using fire magic, we will be wanting to start the fire using strike stone, as it does progress your skill tree in camping. So it does take a while to get the first fire started. This is our first fire created on this character, so it will take a while to get the fire started. He's a pretty noob. He's noob in terms of fire starting, let's just say that. I have been ignoring it, but I will try to do it more in the future. So there is 3 skill trees in this provided by the fire. One is like camping skill tree, one is a survival skill tree, and one is basically to help you survive in the cold regions. So the first one, you get XP from lighting fires and sleeping in tents once per day. The second one, is will help you get experience by fulfilling your needs, so drinking water, sleeping and eating, so you fulfill your needs and you get XP towards the skill tree. So here we take 2 skill points into extra carry rate, so we have actually got an extra 30 carry rate now from this skill tree, which is pretty nice. It's the rewards are not too benefiting, but they do benefit you slightly. Like, everything helps in the end, right? If you did want to skip this part of Wildlander, you wouldn't be too left out. But if you wanted to do it, and you can reap the rewards for it also. So here we are. We did level up our things, and here we are. We're going to be doing some spell research until we get Conjuration to level 25. We want to be able to use Raise Dead much more efficiently, and be able to basically use Raise Dead as our main Conjuration source as of now. So like I have said, I do prefer Raise Dead and Necromancy to Atronach until you get to around level 50 Conjuration. So I did skip the spell research, and we did get to level 24. We got to level 25 in the Conjuration, and we are level 11 now. And we will be taking the Necromancy perk. As you can see now, it makes summons last 50% longer. Those Necromancy lasts 10% longer, and they're 3 times stronger. And undeadly and ghostly summons, so that means like summon Skeletal Warrior lasts 3 times longer, I think. So yeah, we're just putting our things away. I think we do need to sleep for a while, so we do decide to sleep for 24 hours. So after this, after we do pack up our tent, we will be traveling to Swindler's Den, which is the Alchemy location. Did we just sleep twice? I'm not too sure. So we will be traveling to Swindler's Den to complete the quest, and then we will be traveling back to sell our items. And I'll show you how much gold we have at the end of it. So right now we have about 10,000 gold, right? At the end of the episode, you will see we have a lot more. You'll actually struggle to sell all the items you have from this quest, as a lot of the things are quite expensive. Like each of the armor pieces are worth like 400 gold each, and you get about 8 each. So that's like 36. I don't even know, for like 32 pieces of enchanted items, and that's like 400 gold each. You get a lot, very, very much a lot. You pretty much get about like 16,000 gold coins, even close to 20,000 gold coins from completing this quest if you actually loot the gear and sell it all. So here we have just bathing in the random water. But we will be traveling to Swindler's Den in a moment. Before we go though, we're going to make sure we have all of our buffs on. We're going to make sure all of our buffs are on, because as a mage you have 0 buffs if you have none of your spells up, right? Whereas as like a heavy armored or light armored character, you have most of your buffs on. So you want to make sure your buffs are on before you set out to travel, because you could just die to a stray arrow. So here we are traveling to Swindler's Den. This is obviously sped up. This is sped up by 3 times. So the traveling aspect of this playthrough will be pretty nice to watch, and I will obviously slow it down if there's anything significant to show. We do have some wolves chasing us, but I normally just ignore them if I'm too busy, or I just can't be bothered to do it. We do need to actually work on getting more large animal bones to craft more bones of Hircine. But here we are at Swindler's Den, and this is a decently hard bandit area, but as of now we are pretty much equipped to deal with most bandit places. It's more we will be heading into the mid game very shortly. It's just we do need to prepare for the mid game. If you don't prepare, like you saw, we prepared for the early game. We do need to prepare for the mid game also. I would like to increase our potion stock. So we would want potions of resist shock, resist poison, or just resist poisons basically, resist potions. I want a very good stock of resist potions before we enter the new game. So we do test our Raise Dead spell out, and I think it's if the dual cast, if your Raise Dead spell is dual casted, the Raise Dead will last about 30 minutes. As of the moment, it lasts about 13 minutes with a single cast. So it's still 13 minutes is very nice. If you do dual cast it, it will last around 30 minutes with only one spell in one perk in Conjuration and one perk in Necromancy, which is quite insane. Like I did say, sometimes the Fire Rune spell does bug. It does spend your magicka without actually placing the rune. It's quite annoying because the Fire Rune does cost quite a lot of magicka if you do dual cast it. As we see here, this guy actually has Nordic armor on, so we do actually try to Raise Dead this guy, as he will provide much more useful than a guy in iron armor. We did actually use the Raise Dead spell level 2 on that guy, and he will last for about 13 minutes or so. I will say though, he didn't really provide that useful, as followers do seem to bug out in dungeons. They do get trapped, and their pathing is just not the best. So we do mostly solo this content. Just being very cautious, as it is a permadeath run, and it could be ended by one swing of an axe or a sword, or even it could be ended in one swing basically. What's nice about Fire Runes though, you can kind of set them as traps in these areas. And there was someone with a scroll. He did hit. I think he did miss actually. But as you will see in future episodes, our gear of resist is actually proving quite useful. I do want to expand upon our resistment though. So maybe we will become a vampire in the future, which will provide us mostly with frost resist, but it will make us pretty weak towards fire. So then we'd need to focus mainly on fire resist and shock resist, right? As you can see, we're pretty much bossing through this content pretty much with ease as a mage at this level, and with the correct preparation. We have got decent gear. We've got an extra 128 magicka from the gloves and the hood, and then we have an extra 40 magicka from the ring. We would probably want to improve on our ring on the next thing. I don't know if what you can really have on a ring. Maybe some magicka regeneration would be nice on the ring, or resist if we could actually get resist, as the robes will provide us with most of the regeneration and the Apprentice effect. I think it gives you 200% magicka regeneration, the Apprentice does, and a 30% weakness to magical effects. So as you can see, you would normally probably be struggling with Kimatsu, whereas a mage and with Fire Runes or dual cast, you can pretty much one-shot him. Like I said, you can be setting up traps, so this area was pretty well easily completed. I didn't know what was happening, but I guess it was our Raise Dead spell fighting lots of the enemies. And he was actually a very decently leveled bandit, so he probably did kill one or two of those foes. But as you can see, Fire Rune pretty much demolishes any of these Alchemy warriors. I'm always going to be careful and not get too close, and I always be moving. But as you can see, the Fire Rune is bugging, it just won't go on, deploy. I will be leveling up Fire Runes ASAP and getting the ability to be able to drop free on the floor. Fire Runes are pretty much the best DPS, even in the late game as a mage. So, like even against Daedric summons and Daedric enemies like Seekers, you want to be using fire. You want to be using runes. So as you can see, we get an Adept Robes of Conjuration, which is okay. I think we do end up putting them on in the future. So as you can see, I did skip out of the exit, but I did loot every single enemy in there. So our carry weight is 790. Our horse probably has some carry weight on him also. So we have a lot of things to sell. So we are returning to Whiterun now. It is sped up, so it's not too much of a bore to watch this. I don't really mind watching sped up of the horse running around, because it does let you experience the aspect. But if I am doing quests that require me to go back and forth a bunch of times, like halfway across Skyrim, I will be just cutting across. And yeah, but for short travels, I will be just speeding it up, as it is pretty nice to show. So we do sell some things. We do sell our skooma to the Khajiits. I had 11 skoomas, which is quite a lot. I do sell as much as I can to this guy also. And we're just putting the things back on our horse. Well, no, we're just selling the guy as much as we can, basically. So we basically sold him out of money, and we are dagger running back to Whiterun. And if you do take a look in the bottom right side of the map, we have 11,000 gold. And then we will be cutting into the Bannered Mare, but we have sold most of the gear. We still have a lot of gear on our horse that we haven't sold. So, and then in this part of the video, we are doing some spell research, as we want to reset the vendors and to sell the rest of the gear to skip some time.
Don't even think about it.
And in this part of the segment, we do some spell research on restoration. We will achieve 4 levels in restoration, as you will see now. But I did cut most of it out, but I did leave the actual endorphins release of the level ups, so you will see shortly. So restoration level 21, and we want to get it to level 25. So we're just choosing which spell to get some experience in, as it does matter, as if you want to create higher level spells, you want to research the correct spells. So that's the first level up. We did, every time you see a level up was basically us doing spell research. I am cutting the spell research out, so we just did spell research twice, and we do need to sleep and
If it's work you need,
eat some food.
sure thing. It's yours for a day.
We was going to use the
course.
campfire outside,
Of course.
but that would mean we would have
Need
to
anything else? Just let me
get
know.
lots of food to provide sustenance. So we did decide to just do it in the inn and be able to just buy the food from the inn. It's quite cheap as well if you just buy a full meal, 20 gold, which provides you with a lot.
Of course. Of course.
So I think we've done spell research twice now, so we do it twice again, from to level 24 to 25. So obviously I did cut out the spell research, like the actual thing, but you can tell as I am explaining it, and you can see the level ups on the screen. And then we will have to buy another night in the inn, as we
If
did
it's
just
work you
spend
need, how about
a long
of
time
course.
doing some spell research, and we do need to go back to sleep and eat some food.
Sure thing. It's yours for a
But
day.
doing this, it did
Need anything else, just
skip
let me
free
know.
up a few days worth of time, so the vendors should have reset. And we will be going to Holder to buy the bath key and bathing. We will just be skipping the bathing sequence, as it doesn't really
Need anything
mean
else?
much.
Just let me
I want to be editing like a lot of irrelevant things out, so I will be able to cram a lot into each of these episodes.
They say the college has been snooping. Thank you. Here, this is for you.
So we did this bath then, and we will be turning in the Alchemy quest. I don't think they give you too much. Let's see what they do give us. So it gives us 500 septons. It's not that much. It's like a missive, but the reward is basically the gear you receive. So just making sure we are stocked up on beef stews and just soups and stews, basically. Just make sure you're always stocked up. So after we leave the bannered mate, we will be selling the rest of our gear. This part of the segment is not sped up. It's mostly this part of the segment is not cut out. It is just sped up. So we will be selling the rest of the gear. So we will be going back to all the vendors and selling the gear. And as you can see, the vendors have reset.
Take a look.
So we are just selling them everything we can. And if you didn't know, the vendors of the War Maidens, there's 2 vendors, so they actually have separate inventories. And you're able to sell to both of them. I don't think his inventory was reset though, as there was a bug. So we are going to be collecting a few more missives from the missive board, as we did reset the missive board during our time doing spell research. And if you didn't know, general merchants will give you less for things such as alchemy ingredients and armor. If you take your armor to a smith, he will give you a much better deal than the general merchant will give you. So you kind of want to be going to a general merchant as a last resort. Obviously some things you can only actually sell to a general merchant, so it's not the worst scenario. But if you do have alchemy ingredients, potions, armor you do want to sell, you should be selling it to the correct vendor, as they will give you a better deal. And here we are at the end of the episode, and as you can see, we do have 31,000 gold, which we'll be using this to catapult ourselves into the early to mid game, and we will be seeking upgrades and buying a lot of things in the next episode. Hey guys, just popping in. If you haven't already subscribed, it would be very much appreciated if you did. You could also leave a comment. You could also share the video in places if you haven't. And thanks for watching, guys. See you in the next one.